Hey there folks, the Scottsdale Travel Chick sidekick here to present our ultimate guide to Tokyo, Japan. It's the quintessential exotic Asian city that it seems everyone wants to visit these days. And in this video, we'll tell you all the key points you need to know about visiting Tokyo, from how to get there to how to get around, the best times to visit, the best locations to stay, and of course, all the top things to see and do, with everything called out on maps, so you'll know precisely where things are before you get there. Okay, let's go. Let's first start off with a little bit of background on Tokyo. I'll start by saying Tokyo is humongous, and I don't mean that as an exaggeration. Tokyo is the capital city of Japan, but with over 37 million people in the metropolitan area, it's not only the largest city in Japan, it's the largest urban area in the entire world. It's a huge, wealthy, and fascinating metropolis to explore, and it has something for everyone. But perhaps you can best think of Tokyo not as a single city, but as a grouping of many cities that have all grown together, with each having its own character. From the electronic blare and anime focus of Akihabara, to the imperial gardens and shrines of Chiyoda, to the old Tokyo areas around Asakusa, to the hyperactive youth culture of Shibuya and Harajuku. There's truly something for everyone here. And if you don't like what you see at the moment, hop on a train and go 10 minutes, and you'll find something entirely different. From a tourist perspective, it's helpful for you to think of Tokyo as centered around the Imperial Palace area and surrounded by what they call the Yamanote train line, which circles central Tokyo. All the most popular tourist sites are here, and there are more than 50 train lines to get you around. But this Yamanote line is the key reference wherever you're at. Let me get things going here with a few pro tips that you should find interesting and maybe valuable too. First, Tokyo is super safe no matter where you go or what time of day or night. And the Japanese will often go out of their way to help you if you just happen to ask them. Second, there's no tipping in Japan. Despite our Western culture's desire to tip, please don't do it here. Third, and one I find very peculiar, is that there are almost no public garbage cans anywhere in Tokyo. So be sure to take your stuff with you and throw it away once you're back at your room. Finally, let's talk about Japanese convenience stores. They are called konbini and they are everywhere. In many places, it's hard to walk 100 yards without seeing one. And another interesting point about konbini is that they have surprisingly good takeout food, including sushi. All of it prepared fresh daily. No joke. Here they got stuff made fresh every day. Some sushi. Rice balls up top. How to get there and how to get around. Tokyo has two main airports. One is Narita Airport, about 90 minutes northeast of central Tokyo, and the other is Haneda Airport, about 40 minutes southeast. Both offer convenient train connections or airport limousine buses to get you to your destination. But given a choice, Haneda is the better option as it's notably closer to central Tokyo. Regardless of what airport you arrive at, for first-time visitors, we'd recommend taking what they call the limo bus to your hotel. These are orange and white buses that are tourist and visitor focused, and they take you directly to your hotel or very close. Just look for their orange and white booking desks as you exit baggage claim at both airports, and they'll take care of you. And yes, they speak English. For those of you who are a bit more adventurous, you can easily take a train from the airport as well. The good thing about the train is that it takes away any issue of traffic or car accidents. From Narita, there are two train options. The Narita Express in the Kisei Skyliner. The Kisei Skyliner is the faster and cheaper option, but its final destination is Ueno Station on the north side of that Yamanote line I mentioned. There are not many hotels directly in that area, but if you're staying on the northern part of central Tokyo, it could be a good choice. Plus, you can easily take a more local train from there to your hotel. The Narita Express train is also quite fast and very comfortable. Plus, it has a number of main stops around the Yamanote line, which makes it more convenient if you're staying in the Ginza, Shinagawa, or Shinjuku Shibuya areas. From Haneda Airport, you have two main train options again. One is the Keikyu train, which takes you to various parts of central Tokyo, or the monorail train to Hamamatsucho Station on the southeast side of the Yamanote line that I mentioned. And of course, you can take another local train from there to your hotel. It is possible to take a taxi from either airport, but we'd really recommend against it. The cost is expensive, particularly from Narita, and you never know about the traffic. Trust me, don't bother. Now, let's talk about getting around Tokyo in general after you've made it to your intended destination. As I mentioned, Tokyo has perhaps the best transit system in the world, and you can go virtually anywhere using a train in Japan. It may seem intimidating and confusing at first, but all the signs and announcements are in English, and apps like Google Maps are very helpful. Plus, the Japanese people are quite helpful too if you happen to get confused. Anyway, a quintessential part of visiting Tokyo is simply getting on a train and experiencing life the way the locals do, particularly during rush hour. Most train lines in Tokyo run from around 5 a.m. till just after midnight, and they also run quite frequently, most every 7 to 10 minutes. Although the transit system is complex, the top-level key to keep in mind is that circular Yamanote line I mentioned earlier, which surrounds the central part of Tokyo. It's the guiding force for all your travels, and in fact, I'm going to use it as the reference for all the top sites in this video. It's super duper helpful to use Tokyo's automatic metro card called Suica or Pasmo. You can use it to pay for every train and bus in Tokyo, as well as most taxis too. And in fact, a card is not even needed anymore. Simply download the Suica app to your phone, load up some money, and you're on your way. You'll never have to worry about precise change. And another bonus is you can use the Suica card at most vending machines and convenience stores everywhere. By the way, let's talk about those vending machines. Why? Because they're absolutely everywhere in Tokyo, and it's another unique trait. You want cold drinks, you want hot drinks, you want snacks, you want ice cream, they got them. And if you get really lucky, you might even find one serving warm cream corn or hot udon noodles. 6 for $500, 20 for $1,500. You put your money in. Out below comes hot dumplings. Finally, if trains aren't your thing, then don't fret. There are tens of thousands of taxis running around Tokyo. You can simply head to any nearby taxi stand and take one, or you can flag one down in the street. If the light on the roof is not lit, then that means they're available. But another pro tip here is you can actually use the Uber app in Tokyo. We'd recommend it, and when you do use it, you almost always get a normal taxi. But the good thing is you don't have to worry about paying or making change, and your destination is already in the app and very clear to the driver without having to speak any Japanese. Speaking of Japanese, I'll drop one more pro tip. So many, huh? Download the Google Translate app, and you can use it to speak Japanese or translate Japanese signs into English. It's really, really useful. Finally, what about renting a car? Just 3 words: don't do it. There's absolutely no reason to rent a car, even if you're traveling to other parts of Japan. The train system is just that good, and the parking around Tokyo is just that terrible. the best times to visit. Tokyo has a climate that I feel is a mix between Miami and New York City, meaning the summers are hot and humid like Miami, while the winters are cold but with little snow like New York City. Either way, Tokyo has high humidity, so whatever the temperatures, it will seem hotter in Japan. Overall though, the best time to visit Japan is actually late March through early May and late September through early November. The weather is most ideal during these times, and spring brings Japan's famous cherry blossom season, while the fall brings many festivals and beer gardens. Where to stay? To answer this question, we need to refer back to Tokyo's layout and that Yamanote train line. The center of Tokyo can be thought of as the Imperial Palace and Ginza Tokyo Station area, and the city spreads out from this theoretical center. You can imagine there are tons of hotels all over Tokyo, with great ones wherever you'd like to stay. But to get right to the point here, I would recommend 3 areas: the Ginza Tokyo Station area, Shinjuku Shibuya area, and the Asakusa Akihabara area. Each has some decent dining and nightlife, is a good transit hub, and has some worthwhile sites nearby. Of those 3, I'd recommend staying in the Shinjuku area. It's the best overall for convenience, transit location, and lots of stuff nearby. Now, finally, let's get to all the top things to see and do in Tokyo. I'll group them all into key areas located around that circular Yamanote line, so it will be easy for you to understand the general areas and what each has to offer. But before I get to those top sites, I just want to start off by saying I believe some of your best memories of Tokyo will simply be random experiences not on your to-do list. The sheer size and crazy pace of Tokyo can intimidate visitors, but one of the best parts of a Tokyo experience is simply wandering around and getting lost in the city and its people. First up is the northeast area of Tokyo with its primary stations of Asakusa, Ueno, and Akihabara. Asakusa is famous for its temple and old shopping streets. The area gives off a more historical vibe compared to most other Tokyo areas. In walking around, you'll find traditional shops, ancient temples, and historical shopping streets. The biggie here is Sensoji Temple. Sensoji is one of the most sacred sites in Japan and the most visited temple in Japan. This traditional temple was first established in 1645, making it Tokyo's oldest Buddhist temple. It's also the location where many important festivals are held throughout the year. Nakamise Shopping Street is directly in front of the temple, and it's a narrow pedestrian-only touristy shopping street. But it has some history, dating back to 1760, making it one of Japan's oldest shopping areas. Wander around the 250-meter-long street with almost 90 stores, most selling street food, souvenirs, and personalized crafts. Right across the street from Sensoji Temple is the large tourist information center. It's unique because of the design, and it has a top-floor viewing cafe and rooftop deck. Because of the unique design, it's one of the most photographed spots in Asakusa. Nearby are Denboing-dori and Shin Nakamise streets. One boasts old-style shopping and dining charm with distinctive Edo period architecture, while the other is a more lively main street with colorful stalls. There's a lot to see in the surrounding area as well. Just one of the streets nearby is called Hoppy Street, which is packed full of izakayas and outdoor bars. It's open until very late, and this is an awesome and atmospheric drinking street at night. Sip some sake and get friendly with the locals. Finally, another big site here is called Tokyo SkyTree. And I say big, as it's the tallest structure in Japan and the second tallest in the world at over 2,080 feet. While SkyTree has a commanding view, it comes at a price of more than 2,100 yen or higher, depending on the deck you choose. Do it if you must, but we found it to actually be a little too high to enjoy the sights, and the crowds are just terrible. Actually, we recommend two better choices later in the video. Finally, to cap off your trip to Asakusa, consider taking a cruise down the Sumida River with the Tokyo Mizubei water bus. This is a scenic ride offering an amazing city and Tokyo harbor views, and we recommend this cruise all the way down to Hamarikyu Gardens. It's an inexpensive and nice relaxing experience overall. We recommend it. In addition to the river cruise, there's also a decent riverfront path, and you can walk 20 minutes to come to the National Sumo Stadium. This place is the capital of sumo wrestling in Japan, and the stadium houses over 11,000 seats, and official tournaments last over 2 weeks. And there's a cool sumo museum here as well, and it's worth a stop. If that's not enough Japanese culture for you too, then check out the Japanese Sword Museum nearby as well. It's Nihongo Overload. And you never know what else you might see walking around Tokyo. Ueno is the next area up, and its big attraction is Ueno Park. Particularly popular during cherry blossom season, Ueno Park is not mentioned too much in travel guides, but it's a destination you want to experience with shrines, temples, pagodas, multiple museums, and even a zoo, all in one place. In fact, 3 of Tokyo's top museums are here: the National Museum of Nature and Science, the Tokyo National Museum, and the Tokyo Metropolitan Art Museum. Finally, the third popular area in northeast Tokyo is Akihabara. Akihabara, or Electric Town, or simply Aki, is famous for its electronic shops and Japanese pop culture. From manga to video games, maid cafes, themed restaurants, game centers, and anime to the extreme, it's all here. Wander around and explore on your own. But to get you started, here are just a few sites to give you a taste for what Akihabara has to offer. First up is Yodobashi Camera. It's the largest electronic store in the world, and it's right next to the station. It's got 9 floors, and it will take you a couple of hours to walk it all and check out some of the unique offerings. The iPhone 16 was just announced 2 days ago, but they have all of the cases and everything else already for sale. And here are cases for every single iPhone. And this is half a floor of just pens. All kinds of pens. And here's the 3rd floor. Cameras, and then is just camera tripods. In terms of Japanese culture, Aki is the unquestioned center of otaku culture in Japan, and the stores along Chuo-dori are packed to the rafters with anime and manga. Take your pick. A very unique sight somewhat off the beaten path here, though, is the Monorake building. It's a small multi-floor store of old and weird collectibles, and I guarantee it's something you'll never see anywhere else in the world. So this floor has a bunch of dolls and doll parts and doll clothes. $400 for that doll. Almost $400. These look very sad. Something else unique in the Aki area are the gashapon vending machines. They're all over the place. These machines originated back in the 1960s and dispense capsule toys. You never know what you're going to get, and yet another very Japanese thing to see and do. Okay, this is Akihabara Gachapon Hall. You'll see these all over Akihabara, but this is actually a hall, 4 or 5 floors of these various, basically vending machines or gumball machines, but they're not gumballs, they're various toys or anime, and sometimes they're valuable things, but you don't know what you're going to get till you put your money in and try. So we're going to try a couple. So you're going to try this?
Yep.
Which one do you want?
I like Kevin. I'll take Kevin.
Okay.
And this is 300. So we're going to go with these ones. I got Otto.
Okay.
Oh, here he is. Here he is. Super cute.
Back to the stores. Check out one of the multiple Jijo arcade stores here. Each are a multi-story arcade game center. Lots of crane games here and gashapon machines as well, but some other options might surprise you. And of course, we can't talk about the Aki area without talking about maid cafes. Check out the girls along the streets in their costumes, handing out advertisements for their various cafes. Why not check one out? They're not really risque and they're safe for the whole family. Finally, there are some sites here which are not safe for the whole family, as several multi-floor adult stores can be found here. The largest is Pop Life. Next one, we're going into the Pop Life right here. Do you know what this is?
Is this a surprise for me?
I know.
This looks like a dirty.
It's billed as the world's largest porn shop, but it doesn't feel that big actually. Nonetheless, it's another weird and wonderful Japanese experience. All right, what do we got down here? Oh, wow. Wow, that's already a ton of sights just in this northeast Tokyo area. But we are now moving down that Yamanote line to central and east Tokyo, where here you have Ginza, Roppongi, and Odaiba areas. In this area you'll find Japan's Imperial Palace, and it's where the Japanese Emperor lives today, but most of the area is not open to the public. However, the East Gardens are free to visit, and many tours come here. And in the spring and summer, you can rent a rowboat and explore the moat surrounding the palace, which is particularly impressive during the cherry blossom season. Overall, though, my suggestion is there are better things to see in Tokyo, so skip this if you're short on time. Not too far away from here, though, is the famous Tokyo Station. It's a beautiful red brick European-style building, recently completely redone to its original glory. Not only is it a major transportation hub, it's a historic landmark with a bustling area of shops, restaurants, and more. Head underground to explore it all. Next up is famous Ginza. It's perhaps the most well-known area of Tokyo, and it's home to many luxury brands and known the world over for high-end shopping. Ginza was Tokyo's first Western-style shopping district, and it's still where the old money comes to shop. The wide boulevards and narrow side lanes of Ginza are lined with high-end boutiques, department stores, and exclusive restaurants. And when you walk the main avenue, it's fun to check out all the unique building designs as well. How about this one that has like plants everywhere up, and then a rooftop deck at the very top? Pro tip, Do your best to come during the weekend times when the road is closed for traffic and it turns into a very big pedestrian-only zone. Whenever you do come, here are just a few of the sites in this area to consider. If you're into luxury shopping, then head to Ginza 6. It's a sprawling complex with hundreds of stores, filled with high-end brands and exclusive boutiques. Not too far away from the main Ginza Street is the Kabuki-za Theater. It's a renowned venue where traditional kabuki performances have been performed for decades. And pro tip, they offer English audio guides to help you better understand the performance. Moving towards the waterfront now, there's another famous Tokyo site called Tsukiji Fish Market. It's been quite famous, and it used to be the place where you would go very early in the morning to experience Japan's largest fish market and tuna auction. But despite what you still might see on the internet, the original location closed in 2018, and what is left there are some fish stalls and dining options now called the Outer Market. Unfortunately, it's a shell of its former self. A market, not really the fish auction anymore. Just lots of little shops. Are you a tuna and are you for sale? Auction? No? Tuna.
No.
Big fish auction? Okay, looks kind of boring and nobody here. There is a new fish market where the famous tuna auction continues, but you can no longer wander among the stalls and can only view it from second floor viewing windows. This is now called the Toyosu Inner Market, and it's still probably worth doing if you can get there before 8 a.m., after which most of the tuna auction is pretty much finished up. Now let's talk about shrines. They're everywhere in Tokyo, and most are worth a quick stop to check out when you see them. But I'll only mention one here. It's called Hiei Shrine, and it sits atop a hill with a gigantic cherry tree at the entrance. But this shrine is most famous for its back entrance, where you'll find 90 torii gates that form a long tunnel. It's a super popular picture spot. Hamariku Gardens are also in this area too. The gardens are meticulously landscaped, and there are also traditional tea houses and bridges to check out. It's certainly worth a stop, either as part of that river cruise or on its own. Finally, one more top site in this area has to be the Tokyo Tower. Not to be outdone by the newer Tokyo SkyTree, Tokyo Tower is still a major site, and in my opinion, it's probably better than SkyTree. First, I think it has a better view, and there's some history here too. Plus, it's much less crowded than SkyTree. Finally, just a quick point or two on famous Roppongi. Many people have heard of this area as it's an expat-centric area with popular nightlife options, along with high-end dining and shopping in Roppongi Hills, Tokyo Midtown, and newly built Azabudai Hills. They're all in this area. And pro tip, Team Lab Planets is here, and really it's worth a stop. It's a uniquely Japanese immersive art museum type of thing. It's hard to explain, but it's definitely worth doing. Finally, on the other side of the bay to the east, you can visit Odaiba. Here you can find a waterfront beach along with a couple of unique Japanese malls focusing on various game experiences in indoor all-inclusive entertainment centers. Plus, you can also ride a giant Ferris wheel here, which used to be the largest in the world until recently. Our last big Tokyo area with a ton of stuff going on is Northwest Tokyo. Here you'll find Shinjuku, Shibuya, and Harajuku. But before I get there, just a quick shout out that if you're enjoying this video, please give us a thumbs up, maybe a comment, or better yet, forward this to all of your friends. And please consider subscribing to our channel to receive more fun, informative travel videos just like this one. Shinjuku is probably the place you're imagining when you think of Tokyo. bright lights, crowds, tall buildings, bustling streets, and energy galore. It's the liveliest neighborhood in all of Tokyo and certainly one of the top things to experience while you're there. Starting at Shinjuku Station and moving out, you have Shinjuku Station at rush hour. Of course, you'll want to experience the busiest train station in the world at rush hour, right? Fun fact, Shinjuku Station has over 200 exits, so be careful as it's easy to get lost. Omoide Yokocho, or Memory Lane, is just the opposite. It's a small pedestrian alley near the train tracks where many small historic yakitori and barbecue places are located. Also nicknamed Piss Alley, it's a great place for a taste of old Tokyo right next to the main train station. Isetan Department Store is Tokyo's most famous and upscale department store with 9 floors. First opened in 1933 and now designated an historic Tokyo landmark, don't miss a visit for some great shopping, but also its wonderful and unique food hall in the basement, which sells a variety of Japanese snacks and goodies, including beautifully prepared bento boxes and exquisite desserts. Kabukicho is next up, and it's the biggie attraction in Shinjuku. It's Tokyo's most famous entertainment district that never sleeps, and where you'll find the brightest lights and strangest nightlife. You have to visit this area at night to really experience it, as it's filled with all kinds of restaurants, bars, host and hostess clubs, dodgy massage shops, and more. Among the sights here are a couple of unique outdoor ones. Godzilla is on top of a building and goes off every hour in the evening. And nearby is also the 3D Cat, which is an electronic billboard with various advertisements, but also cats doing silly things. One more really big one here used to be the Robot Bar, which was a crazy experience and the most popular of all shows in Tokyo. Unfortunately, it's currently closed, but it was an institution before COVID. Keep your eye out and pray that it opens again before you get there. And if so, absolutely do it. Just beyond Kabukicho is another really cool nightlife area called Golden Gai. This area is comprised of more than 100 teeny historic bars, many more than 50 years old. And pro tip, it's a great place to make friends since all the bars are really small, with most holding less than 10 people. Moving on to other non-nightlife stuff in Shinjuku, on the other side of the main station, you have the Tokyo Metropolitan Building. Both of these twin towers have viewing platforms on their 45th floor and are free to visit, unlike most other observation decks. Go to the north building for the best views. On clear days, you can see Mount Fuji in the distance, and in the evenings, the entire city of Tokyo spreads out beneath you. Finally, the Park Hyatt Hotel is here too. Why do I mention that? Well, it's famous for its incredible city views from their upper floor bar, which was also the famous setting for the Hollywood movie Lost in Translation with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. Just south of Shinjuku on the Yamanote line is Shibuya, another main hub of modern Tokyo. It and neighboring Harajuku are the best-known shopping areas for funky, youth-centric clothing and accessories. And overall, there's an energetic mix of shopping, dining, and drinking. First up in Shibuya, you have to check out Shibuya Crossing, Japan's busiest street crossing surrounded by skyscrapers and bright city lights. It's estimated over 2 million people cross Shibuya Crossing every day. And on the edge of this crossing is also the famous Hachiko dog statue. It's a statue of a loyal dog known for waiting at the station for its owner to return every day for 9 years. Check out the story online. The Shibuya 109 building is also next door and it's a long-time famous youth-focused shopping mall. It's 10 stories right near the crossing and worth your time to check it out. Also here is the Mega Don Quixote. I'll talk more about these stores later in the video, but just remember, the biggest one of all is here in Shibuya. Just slightly north is neighboring Harajuku, and here you have Takashita Street, which is really a pedestrian-only lane filled with weird and wonderful sights. There are many stores here selling eccentric clothing, strange and weird candy and crepes, lots of people are walking around, and more. Also in Harajuku is the Meiji Shrine in Yoyogi Park. Meiji is a stunning Shinto shrine set in the middle of a tranquil forest of over 100,000 trees. The park's entrance is very near Harajuku Station, where you'll pass through massive torii gates as well as a bunch of sake barrels on a 15-minute stroll to reach the shrine. I've now covered the top tourist areas of Tokyo, but let me now touch on some uniquely Japanese experiences you can encounter all over Tokyo. First are the Japanese gardens. Japan is famous for these Zen sanctuaries of tranquility and peace. They are inexpensive to visit and mostly ignored by tourists, so they're a great place to give you a relaxing, tranquil perspective of Tokyo. How about checking out a crazy Don Quixote shop? I mentioned the one in Shinjuku earlier, but there are many around Tokyo. Be sure to check out at least one during your stay. They are perhaps the best place for souvenir shopping, and each floor is an experience, seeing and possibly buying something you can only find in Japan. From food to bicycles to costumes, kitchen utensils, dildos, and shoes and socks. It's all here in a weird and wonderful shopping environment. Maybe check out some pachinko. Similar to slot machines in Western culture, pachinko shops are loud and bright places where you can purchase small metal balls and play for fun. The shops are free to enter, so check one out during your stay. Finally, for the more daring, maybe try out a local sento or public bath. There are big super sentos, such as La Kwa at Tokyo Dome and Oedo Onsen in Odaiba, but there are many more small local places scattered around. FYI, you'll need to be completely naked, they are segregated by gender, and tattoos are a big no-no at most. Finally, green tea culture and matcha has become very popular in Japan these days. So why not try out a tea ceremony, where you can sample various green tea in a unique Japanese tea house setting. Wow, this video is getting pretty long, but I hope you're still with me, because I've got a few more great tips on dining and nightlife next. For dining, where do I start? Tokyo has such a huge selection of high-quality choices, with even the smallest nondescript places being of very high quality. And the variety of food is humongous here too, from sushi to yakitori to shabu shabu, udon, ramen, the list goes on and on. So I'm not even going to start really. I'm just going to mention a couple of fun pointers here about restaurants and dining in Japan. First, really consider eating like a local. A key point about eating in Tokyo is that you don't have to spend a lot of money to get really good food, and you don't have to go to any special area or restaurant either. There are great choices absolutely everywhere in Tokyo. So forget about all those Michelin-starred places, they're overpriced and crowded anyways, and just ask your hotel for their local recommendations, and you'll very likely be satisfied. Many who follow our channel know we like to eat cheap and local, and in Tokyo, that makes it really fun too. Many of the larger train stations have fast, cheap eateries just around the corner. And why not try one? Izakayas happen to be our favorite. When Japanese people go out to eat, they often eat at an izakaya, which offers inexpensive food and drink in a lively atmosphere. I highly recommend trying one to get a feel for how the local Japanese really eat out.
Oh, look. I got it.
All right, what are you trying next?
Okay, so look at this. Our chicken and rice is cooking right now. It's steaming. And then we got some chicken skewers. These are like no sauce on them, but very good. And then these are like I think a teriyaki.
We'll take it.
And then we have something in here. I don't know.
There's going to be rice in there, isn't there? It's supposed to be.
It's like...
Another really cool and really local option are noodle and curry shops, where you order and pay for your meal from a machine near the door. Then the place cooks it up and delivers it to your table. It's a truly local experience where you can typically eat for under $10 a person, and the food is always delish. Okay, babe, where are you at? Is that it?
Well, I think we ordered additional stuff. I just don't know yet.
Okay, and this you order at the machine up front, and then they bring it out to your table.
Yeah.
And I've been here before, and I think this place is really good. So we got some ramen noodles.
Yeah.
What else? We got a rice bowl with pork, some dumplings, and some fried chicken.
Yeah.
Let's see when it comes out. All right, here's our meal. Dumplings, chicken. Try some of those noodles, baby. Let me see this chopstick action. Wow. Got one. Wow. And a pro tip here. Many restaurants in Japan are famous for having very realistic plastic food in their front windows. It's pretty funny to walk down a street and see dozens of these places next to each other. And don't hesitate to drag the waitstaff out to the front and point out what you want if the menu happens to be in Japanese. Finally, what about the nightlife? Again, there are many areas for drinking and meeting locals, tens of thousands in fact, that I can't cover them all here, but I will give you the top 3 areas to head to once the sun goes down. First up has to be Shinjuku and its famous Kabukicho area. There's lots to choose from here, along with the Golden Guy micro bars. Also, Japan's largest gay district of Shinjuku Nichome is right next door. Next up is Shibuya. This area is the center of youth clubbing with a lot of nightlife packed together, but it's best for the 20-something crowd, so keep that in mind. Finally, we have famous Roppongi. It used to be the top area for foreigners, and it's still going strong, with a great mix of locals and foreigners living it up. You can find just about anything here, from karaoke to shot bars to live music houses, entertainment bars, hostess bars, and dance clubs. Just be careful and avoid the touts. Wow, this has been a super long destination guide, but I hope you stuck with me. And if so, we have now come to the end of our ultimate visitor guide to Tokyo, Japan. We hope you enjoyed. Did we miss any of your favorites? Or do you have a secret tip you'd like to share with others? Please let us know in the comments section below. And please consider subscribing to our channel for more fun, informative travel videos just like this one.
Until next time, see you later.